I was plagued by a lot of different injuries in club. My environment wasn't always the most positive environment. I struggled a lot on beam my senior year and was taken out of lineup and, just kind of battled with myself a little bit.
And were you able to overcome it? Were you able to work through?
Yes, I was. And that was the year that I won my beam national championship. So things ended the way I had worked them into. I gained confidence in myself once again and ended unexpectedly on a really high note.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the PerformHappy Podcast. I am excited to have someone who's now living in my neck of the woods who is hopefully going to make a really big stamp on a team that's close to my heart. I'm really excited to bring to the show today the new head coach of Cal Gymnastics, Geralen Stack Eaton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's still getting used to that head coaching title too. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's me.
Oh, yeah, I'm in charge. Yeah. Well, and my girls and I are huge fans. And my 10-year-old has her Cal poster over her bed.
Love that.
And so when Cal was sort of imploding last season, we had a freak out. We were like, oh my gosh, what's happening to our home team?
Yep.
Our faves are leaving. And what about when I heard your name, I was like, oh, we might be okay. This is exciting. So does it feel like big shoes to fill? What's your feeling about this big transition that you are taking over here?
Yes, big shoes to fill for sure. I've been following along with this program. I mean, between us and Cal, when we were at Minnesota, we've come back and forth between, placing 6th and then 8th and then knocking them out one year to make it to nationals. And then one year we didn't. So we've kind of been neck and neck with them over the last several years. And then they continued with their second place, finish. And, we finished 6th. That was our highest finish at Minnesota history in 22. And so it's definitely been a fun rivalry, unknowingly, I guess you could say. And yes, getting this opportunity has been an incredible honor. And just to think that I am now the head coach at Cal and what has been done before me and respecting what was, accomplished and how I can continue that is something that I'm very excited about and very much looking forward to, and just trying to take it a day at a time. Honestly, you're right. You can't get too overwhelmed of what was, but just kind of stay in the present moment and take each day as it comes and continue working with the team and looking forward to the future.
Yeah. Well, and you actually have big feet for those big shoes, if we're going to stick with that, because
I do. Yeah.
11 years as one of the coaches at Minnesota, and you had tons of success there. Also, former NCAA champion, 4 national championships, individual and back-to-back at Alabama. So you are not a rookie when it comes to college gymnastics. Do you have some confidence coming into this as well?
Yes, I think, definitely having confidence in knowing, like you said, I've been in this world for a long time now on the other side as not an athlete, and understanding how things work a little bit more, but also having confidence in myself and my abilities from where I started when I was 25 to now I'll be 36 in 2 weeks. So I've definitely learned a lot about myself along the way. I learned a lot under Jenny Hansen at Minnesota. She was a great mentor and helped teach me a lot of different things. And what we were able to accomplish at Minnesota was really incredible. So it was very hard to leave, but we obviously were very excited to have this next steps in this program and, the staff that we have in place. I think we're going to do really incredible things. We're very collaborative, and it's been a whirlwind for sure.
Yes, I bet. Okay, now I would love to get to know you a little bit more as a human. Just a couple of rapid fire questions here. Now that you are in the Bay Area, I'm sure that you've found more things than just coffee. So are you coffee or are you matcha?
Coffee, for sure.
Coffee to the core.
The grass part of that yet. I don't understand it. So coffee, yes.
Yes. I know I tried to explain what a matcha lemonade tasted like to my daughter. It was like, it tastes like lemonade with grass in it.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, why? But I'm a matcha girl. It happened. Okay, nationals or Olympics?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It's a different experience. I'd probably have to say nationals, just because I have been there, but absolutely love watching the Olympics. Always get teary eyed when, people from America get to stand on that podium and just see the tears, and you can just feel that with them because you know what all has been sacrificed to get to that moment. But then also going to nationals every year is also a very fun memory that I have from my time as an athlete, and just a lot of great times.
Yeah. Awesome. I thought for sure you would go nationals, but
Yes.
yeah, I mean, even the Olympic trials is so emotional watching these little
Mhm.
girls have their dreams come
Yes.
true and become an Olympian. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
incredible. Chills for sure.
totally. Okay. New York or San Francisco?
Well, considering I lived in New York City for a year, I might have to say New York City just because I'm a little bit more familiar. Haven't had much time to really visit the Bay Area. I did come a lot as a young child. We would fly out. I have relatives out here in San Ramon, California. So we would come to the Bay Area and go to Pier 39. But I lived in Manhattan. So just a little bit different.
Yeah. And okay, fun fact that many people don't know about you.
That I'm a pretty good singer and I love to dance.
Was that your original dream and
Mhm.
passion, or was it gymnastics, or did they go
Well,
together?
I was always dancing and singing in my living room. I loved the film Chicago. I've actually seen it 3 times on Broadway, and I memorized all the dances and would sing in the living room. So it's just another side passion that I had, but also then floor choreography I'm able to do still, even though my body is slowly deteriorating. So I'm still able to do some of those passions that I've had over the years.
Yeah, being able to combine them both.
Mhm.
And did you always want to be a coach, or how did that emerge in your life?
It was interesting. I definitely fell out of love for the sport before I went to college and even kind of debated on competing in college. And my family was like, just try it and see, and found the love again. So by the time I had graduated my senior year, I was like, yes, I found that passion and love and excitement. And then that was kind of it. So I was still pretty, I think, just upset that it was over. And my mom was the one who actually encouraged me to just try getting into coaching. And at that time, this was around 2013, just trying to get in a volunteer position anywhere. Those weren't available, just trying to get my foot in the door anywhere. And then the position at Minnesota opened up. And I was like, I'm not even near qualified. I've never coached before. And I was like, just try, see what happens. And got the call, got the interview, and then, yeah, 11 years there. It was pretty crazy when you think about it.
Yeah, I love how life sometimes doors just open and you walk through them.
Yeah. Have
And
no idea what's going to happen.
and those are usually the most amazing pivot points in life, is where you just feel kind of tugged in a certain direction and you don't know why, and you just
Hmm.
start walking through that door.
Right.
Versus there's also times where I'm like, people will be like, it has to be this way, it has to be this way, and you just
Yep.
can't get the door to open.
Hmm. Yep.
And
Unexpected. Hmm.
yeah. Yes. Okay. So now you have been part of a championship team, Alabama.
Yep.
And I'm curious what you learned from that championship team that you have applied in your coaching throughout the last 11 years.
Obviously, been a lot. I'd say, teamwork, leadership, family, having that inclusivity, just knowing the people make your experience and making sure that you're building those relationships, having those connections, those people you're always going to have a bond with. I can not talk to a certain alumni for however many years and I could pick up the phone and I know they'll answer. So I miss that camaraderie for sure within practice, and just knowing you're all on the same page, going after the same goals with everybody on your team. And leadership quality is something that I've really learned, and how to know other people and what helps them tick, when to kind of maybe take a step back and they just need a minute, and vice versa. Because sometimes I would need a minute after I messed up for my team. I was just like, just give me a second. There's definitely a lot of things that I've learned on being at a team and just how we can help each other. If someone makes a mistake, we got your back. If I make a mistake, I'll get you on that next event. So there's so many things that I've learned throughout my time, and hoping that I'm doing a good job of continuing to incorporate that now in a newly role, different than it was before.
Yeah. You mentioned you fell out of love with gymnastics before college. And I think that's an incredibly common story that,
Right.
athletes work from age 12 on to try to get that college scholarship or whatever, your version is, you kids listening. But then by the time they get to their junior, senior year, it's like, can I keep doing this? What was it that took your joy? And then what brought it back when you were in college?
I think I was plagued by a lot of different injuries in club. I think I excelled fairly well, but maybe not as well as I could have. My environment wasn't always the most positive environment, but we just kind of made the best of it. And again, you just had your teammates that you could talk with and help each other through those tough times. So I think it was just those demanding points at such an impressionable time in your life. But unfortunately, it's just part of the game, right? When you're trying to be an elite level athlete, there's a lot of sacrifices that need to be made in order to achieve certain goals. So I think it's just becomes really hard because you have to stay at a certain mentality throughout that journey.
Yeah. So the sacrifices are a huge part. I hear from every high level athlete that you decide, you opt into the sport
right.
And do you think they were all necessary, all of the sacrifices that you made? Or could it have been a little bit more joyful?
Potentially, yes, because I had to, be homeschooled, but I lived an hour from my gym. So the commuting, I tried it for a little bit, and then I wasn't able to work out with my group. And then it was even more lonely because I'd be working out by myself. So honestly, I think it needed to be done unless, and I didn't want to uproot my family. I have other siblings, so it just was a lot. So I don't think it could have been done any other way in that aspect. But again, we all decided as a family, as a unit, that this is what I wanted to try to achieve, and knowing what was going to come with it. So I think obviously we know a lot more now as to how not to coach, and we're still learning, right? Everybody's human, and just trying to learn from what was to how I can be a better coach and not have athletes have certain experiences that I had to go through, but just knowing also there's still discipline and accountability, because that's just how you be successful at anything.
Yeah. And it is such a fine line where, like you and your family opted in to this and you knew there would be sacrifices, and you even sort of accepted, okay, joy might not be the main driving factor in this next 12-month stretch.
Right.
But it's for something. Did you, as a coach, go through an evolution of your own, from there are standards and it must be this way? Have you softened? How have you shifted throughout your experience?
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, when I first got the job at Minnesota, coming right out of, I'd only been a year out. So we would get to do different things. For example, we'd go and travel to Maryland, and we'd get to go to a museum or see the Smithsonian, or, things that were like not business-like, where at Bama we had a private plane, which is incredible, but it was, very in and out. We just compete and then leave, which that was totally fine, right? That's just how it was. And I don't regret that choice, but it was just different. And knowing that you can still get similar results with just investing time and building those relationships outside, and showing that you can do both at a high level is something that I definitely was more eye-opening, and gotten to know myself a little bit more, and how I've seen myself evolve from when I was 25 to now almost 36.
And do you have any regrets or ways that you coached in your past that you wouldn't do today?
I don't think so. I think honestly, just having more confidence in myself and my abilities, right? I think that's something that we all struggle with internally is, am I good enough? Even after all the successes that, we've been able to do at that program and build it to where it was, this is a new role for me. So that's that same thing. Am I capable enough? Am I ready for this? So again, just kind of starting over in that sense of, all right, this is a new role now that I have to achieve, and just trying to remind myself that you've put in the work, and not every day is going to be perfect, and that's okay. So just figuring out how to be better each and every day a little bit.
Oof, that feels so connected to the experience of a lot of brand new college gymnasts. That fresh scholarship, I hear so many athletes who they have this big dose of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That they go from being the best one in their gym to now being one among many, and maybe not at the top of the heap. How do you help your athletes tackle their own sense of imposter syndrome. And do you notice that? I know I've seen it as quite a theme among young college gymnasts.
Yes. It's definitely a hard transition for freshmen because, like you said, some of them are big fish at their gym and then they come to college and everybody's on that level. So I think it's just trying to help them see that it's a positive and that, people can help push each other, right? Healthy competition, but also knowing that you are within the similar age of 18 to 22 with all of these young women because, thinking back in club, like your best friend was like 12 and you were 15, so the maturity and the age range is similar. You all have similar goals, you're on a team together. And so it makes that a little bit easier. So trying to help them transition to that, but also knowing that you're here for a reason. And so trusting in yourself and your abilities. But we also, meet with them outside the gym one-on-one to check in. How's school? How's life away from home? What are all those other things, because usually if you're struggling in the gym, it's not gymnastics based. It's usually the outside factors that are hindering your performance. So having those relationships, building that trust outside of the gym is something that we are doing and meeting with them one-on-one for 30 minutes, encouraging them to utilize all the resources of nutrition, making sure you're refueling correctly. Are you getting enough sleep? We have sports psychologists on staff and just really trying to make them the best athlete and person possible and really utilizing all these resources because it gets pretty expensive as you're not a student athlete anymore. So, encouraging them to really utilize all of these things now so that when they get into the real world, they can handle the hard a little bit better.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And to have each other in that, they can all kind of go, I don't know if I'm good enough. Well, I don't know if I'm good enough. But, okay, right. Good. We're all okay. We can all just be vulnerable and honest with how we're feeling and then get to work.
Yeah.
Now, you've mentioned the high standards, and I think it's a really hard line for coaches to walk these days between having very high standards and then being, coming across as abusive because there was so much poor behavior when you and I were training among coaches. So how do you walk the line of holding extremely high expectations for your athletes, but also putting a human first in that situation?
Yeah. Like I said, I think it's that balance of knowing your athletes a little bit more on a personal level, because if you build that trust outside of the gym, I think it makes it a little bit easier inside the gym to know where that it's coming from. It's not just from a place of, oh, well, she doesn't like me. It's like, no, I know that you're capable of more. So I'm going to hold you to a higher standard, hold you accountable because of X, Y, and Z. So I think building that trust, relationships, and also I know you're capable of more and helping them show themselves that they can believe and see that they are capable of more as well.
And one of my favorite books is Angela Duckworth's Grit. And
that is so funny. We are actually going through our core values teaching and grit is what I have this week. And I am speaking upon the book as well from Angela Duckworth. That is
amazing. It should be compulsory reading that and Mindset by Carol Dweck. I mean, everybody should just, if you're a parent or a coach or an athlete, read those two books, if nothing else. But one of the key things that I kind of take away from that book is that grit. Oh, there it is. Look at that, within arm's reach. It comes from a feeling of having a choice. And when athletes feel like they are opting in, they then can push themselves in a really harmonious way versus if they feel like they are doing it because it's what they've always done or because they're supposed to impress people or because they don't want to let anybody down. That lacks the element of choice. And I think a lot of the kind of older club athletes might be in that, it's what I've always done and it's what I've always wanted and I just have to do it and I can't quit now. So that just opting in, I think those moments, whether it's a club athlete or a college athlete, to have that check-in and go, what are your goals? And if your goal is this, then I'm going to have to push you. Are we green light on that plan? And then the athlete gets an opportunity to go, yep, I'm in. And that I think is a really big determining factor because then you get this inner strength you didn't know you had that comes from that. I'm here because I want to be. So yes, my hands are bloody and yes, my joints are screaming and okay, one more, coach, I'll do it. And so I love that you're studying that with the girls. That's so cool. Is that something you've always done, is like kind of have that mindset training built into your coaching?
Yes. Yes. That's something that, you have to teach and understand the values in order to fully buy into them if you don't really know what they stand for. And then also having the team have their input of what speaks to them and this team, right? Because each team is a little bit different. You have seniors graduate, you have freshmen coming in. So what values speak to them so they feel like they're adding that input and value. So it's more of a buy-in and not fully just being told always, well, this is the way that it is, because then they feel more a part of the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Buy-in and choice are so critical for getting peak performance.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'd love to talk about the mental game a little more. Did you ever struggle with performance anxiety, mental blocks? Did you have any mental challenges while you were competing?
Of course. Yes. I feel like that's pretty common. I would probably have to say I struggled a lot on beam my senior year and was taken out of lineup and, just kind of battled with myself a little bit. And I think what it turned out to be is I was just putting too much added pressure on myself. Like, it's my senior year, I have to make it the best, instead of just focusing on what I do every single day, right? It's just, you have thousands of reps under your belt and thinking about that instead of whatever else you're putting expectation on yourself to do X, Y, and Z. And I think once I finally just committed to, I'm just going to take one thing at a time, be in the moment and not worry about anything else, then is when the outcomes would be there.
Yes. I think, and that happens to kids from, your level 5 state meet all the way up to, nationals, NCAA, is that we have this tendency to go, this is important. Therefore, I must be perfect.
Right.
And how many people, that's just not usually the winning strategy. Of course, everyone has their own formula, I think, by that point. But I appreciate that was your senior year. You were so experienced and you still had, this mental struggle. It just really normalizes it, because I've yet to meet any athletes who have never struggled mentally in a sport that is terrifying. I mean, you'd have to be a sociopath or something. I don't know. To not ever have fear in this sport would be wild to me.
Yes, I agree.
And were you able to overcome it? Were you able to work through? And
yes, I was. And that was the year that I won my beam national championship. So it just, things ended the way, that I had worked them into, gained confidence in myself once again. And ended unexpectedly on a really high note.
Yeah. And so I know I talk with kids with mental blocks all day, every day. And there's a fear that they don't want to let a college coach know that they've ever been scared. What's your perspective on recruiting and kind of people just being honest about their own mental path?
Well, I think it's just, are you willing to work through it, right? Because we all have our fears and anxieties, but what are you willing to do to be able to navigate through that, right? And not just totally shutting off, but working through it step by step, because you can't just get from, A to Z and do nothing in between, right? It's a process. And so what I like to know is their willingness to be uncomfortable in those situations and to try to push themselves a little bit more outside their comfort zone to show themselves that they are capable of more, and that it sometimes takes a little bit longer. But once you kind of see that growth and then you look back and you're like, wow, I was able to handle all that and accomplish this. I can handle anything.
Yes. I honestly think that those moments of overcoming in sport are what make the sport so worthwhile, like in a bigger picture, that, the kid who's been struggling for 3 years that breaks through, that's the one that's not going to give up when they start a business. That's the one who's not going to give up when they're having trouble in their marriage. Like, that's the person who's going to be like, I will weather this discomfort because I know I can. And some of the athletes who have struggled with injury or struggled with fear are the best teammates and the most confident, because I know how to speak up when something feels off. I know how to advocate for myself. I know how to ease in if my body hurts, which I would imagine are great things to have in a person on your team.
Correct. Yes. Knowing yourself, being able to communicate effectively, and then also both sides be willing to navigate through feedback, right? None of us like to hear critiques or anything, but if we're open and willing to hear how we're going to get better, then we can continue to go on that path of success.
Okay. So we have a lot of probably college hopeful kiddos and their moms listening. I am curious, what would you tell them, since you've had this moment of overcoming, you had this I'm melting down under my own pressure. Yeah. If someone's feeling that way, like I have to be perfect, I want to get recruited, or I have to be perfect, I want to go to the next level, what's the best advice that you can give them in that moment of life?
I think just keep taking a step every single day to try to step outside your comfort zone. And even if it doesn't feel like the best day, there's always something good that can come out of every single day. And just kind of having that sense of gratitude. And, you have this opportunity, be thankful for that. And then also, okay, so how am I going to capitalize on that? How can I get myself out of this funk? Maybe you just need to go dance it out. Maybe you just need to go talk to another teammate, get outside of yourself. And then usually, if you help someone else, that can help alleviate the stress on you. So then you can just kind of get outside your head and not stress too much in that aspect. When you kind of direct your attention towards someone else, that usually helps just in general and kind of puts things in perspective as to, okay, I'm not the only one going through this, and other people are having similar situations and able to navigate through them as well.
Yes, that's like, Kristen Neff. I don't know if you've read her and her work on self-compassion. It's so cool, the research on self-compassion, that I think a lot of athletes feel like if I don't push myself really hard, if I take my foot off the gas, I'll fail. Mm-hmm. But the research actually shows if you give yourself compassion when you're struggling, and exactly what you said, this feels hard. I am not the only one suffering. I'm not the only one in the world struggling right now. And then you talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend or a teammate. Mm-hmm. That gives you just another little dose of strength to go, okay, I'm going to be okay. And it reminded me when you were talking about all of our girls in PerformHappy, our mental training program, they end up being kind of their gym's mental coach because they know how to help their friends. And so they're like so good at helping others. And it's funny how they'll know exactly how to help someone else through fear, but they still have trouble giving themselves that patience. Right. So giving to others is helpful for so many reasons because it reinforces what you need to do. And we're always quick to give other people really kind, wonderful advice.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
They're like, for me, no, I'm just terrible. But you take your time. It's okay.
Yes, that positive self-talk. It's a lot of work, right? But that's something that you also have to be willing to, for every negative comment, combat it with 2 positives. And so, because for whatever reason, human nature, it's so much easier. You get 50 positive comments, you get 1 negative, and that's all you can focus on is the negative. So how you can train your mind to think differently, right? And that's a discipline within itself too. But the way you talk to yourself, would you talk to somebody else that way? No. Right. So just giving yourself a little bit more grace and knowing that, okay, if you feel like I'm giving my full effort, my full attitude every single day, all of these things, then you're doing the best that you can and you'll get through this plateau and soon we'll peak.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. And I like to ask, if someone talked to you the way you talk to yourself, would you trust them? And then we go, okay, we have to go trust ourselves on a 4-inch balance beam, but we're talking to ourselves like someone we would never trust. There's a mismatch there. You have to talk to yourself like somebody who you'd let stand next to you on the beam and be like, you got this. Right. I believe in you. And if it doesn't happen today, I love you anyway.
Right. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. And then you can trust that, okay, the not okay in me right now is okay. I can just share that and then we can proceed. Right. Yeah. Okay. So
talk it out. Sometimes when you say things out loud and you're like, okay, that sounded a little silly. So now that I've gotten that out, and then kind of moving forward from there too. So just talk it out sometimes too.
Yeah, that's funny you say that because that's one of the guidelines I give parents when kids are struggling is not to try to fix it, but to just repeat back the words that the kids are saying. Right. I hate it. I quit. I'm out of here. And the parent goes, gosh, I hated my job and I quit and I wanted to get out of there too. And you just kind of mirror back the words and then they can be like, well, that's a little dramatic, I guess, when I hear it coming from you. Okay. Let me not, I don't want to quit. I just got a little mad and just giving somebody the type of listening where you literally use their words back.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
can allow, especially a teenager, to be like, okay, that's a little much, I guess. But
Didn't mean that. Mm-hmm.
and I feel understood. And I feel like you didn't try to fix that for me. And so that's helpful.
Right.
What part did your parents play in your gymnastics journey?
They were very supportive. Pretty much anything. Like I said, we decided, I wanted to try the elite route when I was about 11. And I just started a local gym that was 10 minutes right in town from where we lived. Then we all decided to make this sacrifice as a family. And my grandparents helped drive me, my mom, my dad, it was a team effort for sure. So they very much played a role. I think they were a little disappointed, but they didn't tell me when I quit right after I made the junior national team, placed 7th in the country. And I felt at that moment that I had accomplished my goals and I wanted to go back to school and just kind of see what else there was. I think, my dad might have been a little bit disappointed, but I think they just knew what I was capable of. But, things happen for a reason and picked it back up a couple months later. So,
Yeah. And I think sometimes it's just great to have someone who knows what you're capable of in your corner.
mhm.
Although that can feel like pressure too. Did you ever feel like you couldn't make the decision you wanted because you had to make your parents happy?
Not at all. No, not at all. It wasn't until like years later that my mom told me, that they were just, so it's not like anything in the moment that time. They just wanted me to be happy. And if that's what I felt like I needed, then they supported it.
Amazing. A plus parents. Okay, so now what's the future of Cal going to look like? What is your vision for this program?
I mean, obviously we have big shoes to fill, but what I just want to emphasize is just gaining confidence in each of the athletes and knowing that everybody is here for a reason and that Cal is an incredible place. You can do amazing things and just trying to still be in that process of, with all this change. It's been, a little bit bumpy. That's to be expected. So again, we're still in that process of let's get this buy-in. If you want to achieve all these goals, great. But it starts in the here and now, and there's each step towards those goals. So you can't just expect to do this if we're not willing to do this on the day in and day out. And so obviously getting back to nationals and being ACC regular season or tournament champions. And one of my goals as a coach is to win a national championship as a team. And so obviously I know what it takes and it takes a lot, but it's a process, right? Everything's a process. So just trying to take it one day, 1 week, and plan ahead and just know that there is a system in place. And I think they're doing a pretty good job, all things considered, with all the changes of buying in and really kind of excited for this next chapter in Cal women's gymnastics.
Yeah, it can create a really cool vacuum when things change. I remember when I was coaching, we had this mass exodus of kids who all went to this other gym.
Right.
And there were like 7 optionals left. It was dismal. It was this crazy, like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And those 7 girls were so tight. I mean, it was this beautiful family. And these girls, like, they went on to be so successful together. It was this like tiny, mighty team. All of the coaches kind of had this like, whoa, we got to do things differently. It was just this kind of beautiful turning point that no one would have wanted or asked for, but it just creates kind of this like space for, okay, then who the heck are we? Like, let's find who we are and let's like come together in the midst of this and become even better. It can be like a really cool growth opportunity.
Yeah. Exciting time, growth mindset. The only thing that's constant in life is change. So learning how we can continue to navigate it. And we're in this together, right? I tell them that all the time. This is a new position for me, us as a staff, and then you all as a team. So we're in this change together. And it's been exciting for sure. And, this weekend we have a little exhibition, so to speak, Meet the Bears. And it's just at the gym. So again, just getting the team out in front of people and fans getting excited about the upcoming season to see how the team looks. and also them getting experience and being out in front of people and what that's like to compete again, because you get jitters. So figuring how to navigate through those again and, just taking it, like I said, step by step.
Awesome. Okay. Now I have to ask, because you are, someone who has been recruiting for many years. What's your best advice for that 12-year-old college hopeful? What do you want them to know that's going to give them the best chance of living their dream?
I think just really try to find and keep that passion. And like I said, not every day is going to be easy, but you can always find something good that happened even during the worst day, right? You can shout out another teammate. Somebody else did something great. Somebody's coming back from an injury, what have you, right? Just finding a little something in every single day to keep that passion and knowing that there are going to be sacrifices, but it is going to be worth it, and trusting that process to be able to have that end goal that you're trying to achieve. And it's okay to have off days, right? No one's perfect. So don't have that expectation on yourself, but okay, if things went great, so let's evaluate that. If things didn't go so great, let's evaluate that, right? So evaluate both sides of things. Don't always think about just the negatives, right? What else is going well? And so that's, something that we do every day is shout out a teammate and shout out something you work through today, so that we always just have that growth mindset. And we're just trying to take a step every single day towards the direction we're trying to go.
Yes, that's one of my favorite extra credit homework assignments for kids that I'm helping with fear or confidence, is to have a little journal where you write down, what are you proud of? Where's there room for improvement? And what did you learn?
Right.
And it's not write down the good and write down the bad. It's, what are you proud of? Where can you get better? And what's the wisdom from the day? And what they start to see is that you learn from the good stuff, you learn from the challenges, and it can really kind of drop that need to be perfect, because your wisdom it's valuable on every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I love you focus on, you should probably be happy doing your sport. If you want to keep doing it for so many years, you really that joy and that spark are so important, just to give you the sheer years that it's going to take to get you there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yes, great advice. And any advice for coaches out there who are just trying to do their best, navigating their own imposter syndrome, or trying to, get kids to their dreams?
I'd say just don't be afraid to ask questions, right? I mean, that's just how we continue to grow and learn. If we think we know everything, then maybe we should retire what we're doing, right? You're always in that growth mindset and learning things every day, just asking questions, communicate with people that maybe you wouldn't normally, get outside your comfort zone, right? Do all of those things that we are asking of our athletes, and actually try to model and live those things as well. And just be curious, right? None of us know everything. So always continue to learn and strive to be better.
Amazing advice. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been so nice to get to know you.
Thank you.
I'm going to be in the stands cheering for you with my kids. I can't wait.
That's going to be awesome.
I'm feeling hopeful. Thank you for restoring my hope on our home team.
Yes. Thank you again so much, Rebecca.
I'll talk to you soon, I hope.
All right. Sounds good.